Hey guys, Jack Davey here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be covering what I think will be an interesting topic and a valuable topic, probably more importantly for a lot of you people watching. And this is actually like how to find deals and wholesale deals specifically with bigger profit margins. I think what a common theme of what I find with people is they struggle to consistently find deals with that sustainable or like substantial margin or big profit margin, right? Or like at least a profit margin that you're happy with. And that can be tough. And I say that from experience because over the past 4.5, 5 years that I've been growing my Amazon business now, the first 1, 2, 3 years, I really struggled with this myself. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the one skill really that sort of transformed this for me and sort of transformed my product acquisition process in terms of actually sourcing profitable products with a sustainable margin. And I really had this epiphany and sort of learned this maybe, I would say 2.5 years into my journey, right? And if you really double down and get good at this one skill, you will start to see better results, right? And that one skill is actually negotiation. Now, on the face of it, it's not just as easy as, going to any supplier and, negotiating and saying, can I have a better price, right? It doesn't necessarily work like that. And there are lots of different variables that you need to consider when you are negotiating, right? So a couple of these different variables are how much volume are you going to be ordering? Can you order in full pallets? Can you order a full SKU pallet of that specific product, right? Because if you can, it's going to make the logistics and it's going to make economical sense for the brand or the supplier to give you a better price because they're not going to have to touch the pallet. All they're going to be doing is putting a shipping label on it, and it just makes like everything much more efficient there. Secondly, like what is the volume you can order in comparison to their average order value, right? If their average customer is spending, maybe £8,000, £10,000 per order, and you're trying to negotiate 20, 30, 40% discount off a £4,000 order, right? You've got to understand that you're not putting yourself in the position of with the most leverage, right? Because like you're trying to negotiate a price which is below par standard. Like they're already used to getting £8,000 to £10,000 orders, and you're trying to negotiate, probably prices that their key account, their big accounts are getting, and you're only spending £4,000. So you've got to, in that scenario, you've got to understand that, and you've got to position yourself in a different way, maybe. So again, that's one variable to consider. Another variable is how many SKUs are you taking, right? Like if you're taking, initially, if you're maybe taking 3, 4, 5 different SKUs or different products, what's your objective for the next 12 months, next 24 months? Like, are you looking to integrate more of their product range into your business from that specific brand? Because, this is going to entice them and this is going to add more perceived value, and it's going to, what you're trying to do here is add as much perceived value and provide as much value to the brand as possible so that they're incentivized to give you a better price, right? So you've got to, they're just a couple of the different variables, but with each brand and with each supplier, it's going to be different, and you've got to understand their brand, understand their business, who their target market is, who their customer is, and position yourself in a way that's going to add as much value as physically possible. But at the same time, becoming great at negotiations is a really good skill to have, but single-handedly, it's not going to change your business, right? And this is what I learned probably, I would say, 2 years into my business journey, right? And the main reason for this is because you can become a great negotiator, right? You can understand people's businesses, you can understand all these different things and position yourself in a great way. But if you're negotiating on the wrong type of products, the wrong type of listings, with the wrong type of brands, you're just setting yourself up to fail. And I learned this the hard way because I was making so many inquiries. I was trying to negotiate and stuff, and I was seeing, even when I was negotiating, I was seeing like 7, 8, 9, 10% margin, which is like, it's just too small. And what I understood is that all comes from the product, the brand, the listing that you initially source. And I'm going to explain a bit more about how this sort of works and how you can sort of mitigate that in your business and how you can find the right type of products. Like some people think that it's just a numbers game, right? Where you make 100 inquiries, you open 10 brand accounts from that, and you secure 10 profitable products, right? Whereas it just simply doesn't work like that. Like, there are different variables that you can control that, one person could, contact 1,000 different brands, okay? And they could open 100 different accounts and they could see zero success, zero profitable products. Whereas on the other hand, person B can contact 50 brands. He could source, 10, 20, 30 profitable products out of that 50, right? So it's actually like getting the initial product right first and understanding that you're contacting a brand that you genuinely want to work with and you genuinely think would work long term. And the negotiation process is going to become so much easier, and you're just going to find so many more better products. Now, if you're watching this video and maybe you're an existing Amazon seller that has done some sales but has struggled to scale, we're looking to work with hungry individuals who genuinely want to put the work in and want to achieve incredible results. Go to the description of this video and book in a call with myself, okay? And as soon as you book that call in, come back to this video, watch the rest of the video and take note. So before I go into some of the tangible things that you can actually implement right now, I want to help you understand the importance of why negotiating is so important, right? Now, besides the obvious of like, you're going to make a better profit, you're going to make better bottom line, and you're ultimately going to make more money. One of the biggest driving factors for me and what I understood is like, if you negotiate well, you build a really great relationship with the brand, you're going to create more longevity and you're going to create more consistency. Now, for anybody who's already in my program, you've probably heard me speak about this before, but I like to use what I call the keyboard analogy, right? So you've got a keyboard that's the 10 sellers are selling on Amazon, right? Selling 1,000 times per month, the listing is consistent, all variables are the same, right? But you've got seller A and you've got seller B, okay? Seller A is buying the product from a wholesaler for, let's say, £10, okay? £10 per unit, selling it for £20 and they may be making £2 profit per unit. So they're making 10% margin, which first of all is too low of a margin to take anyway. Whereas you've got person B who's actually buying the keyboard from the brand direct and he's buying a pallet at the time and they're buying it for maybe £6 a unit, okay? So for every £20 sale, all variables the same, Amazon fees are the same, sale price is the same, everything else is the same. Seller A is making £2 a unit, whereas seller B is making £6 a unit, right? So obviously, besides the fact that seller A will make less profit and seller B will make more profit, what you've got to understand is Amazon can be a volatile marketplace. Yes, you can see great consistency on listings, but you are going to see some volatility in places, okay? So, on day one, the sale price might be £20, okay? But maybe 2 weeks later, the sale price maybe drops to £18, okay? So when the sale price drops to £18, seller A is now making a very, very, very small margin. They're probably making, after all the Amazon fees and everything, they're probably making 50p, right? Which is like pretty much break even when you take into consideration transportation costs and refund costs, right? Whereas seller B is probably still making around £4.50, £4.30 per unit, right? So they're still making a substantial margin and they're still able to sell on that listing, even at the lower price. What that means is seller A is probably going to be put in the position now where he's like, I need to sell out of this stock and I'm not going to replenish it, okay? Because it's putting my business at risk. I'm making no money. I'm just being a busy fool, right? Whereas seller B can be a bit more calm and collective. They can understand, right, my profit margin is going to drop slightly, but I'm still making a substantial profit where I'm able to pay my bills, pay my overheads, make a profit, make a good profit, and they're still able to operate their business and sleep at night ultimately. You want to be seller B and don't become the seller A. If you become seller A, and I see a lot of people fall into this trap where they will take deals that are significantly lower profit than they want because they don't know how to find other deals. So become seller B, not seller A. So I would say those are the main two reasons why negotiations is going to really propel your business. So now you understand the importance of why you should negotiate and beyond just making a better pound profit. Now I'm going to go into sort of how you can actually do this and some tangible steps of what you can actually do right now to increase your profit margins, maybe even on existing products that you've got or any new products that you're looking to source. how you can increase these profit margins. So step number one, before you can even think about negotiating, as I've alluded to at the start of this video, you need to make sure you're finding the right product opportunities with a long-term outlook, right? To do this, you need to make sure you've validated the listing correctly and thoroughly, okay? So making sure that the listing is stable, is consistent, okay? Making sure that it's not flooded with 30, 40, 50, 60 sellers who are doing online retail arbitrage. You need to make sure these are like substantial listings, sustainable listings where you're competing against other businesses, right? Not just, competing against online retail arbitrage sellers, okay? And we personally, so myself and all my students, we have a strict two-step validation process that we use. Unless the product strictly meets this criteria, we will not touch the product. What this means is by actually validating your products up front, it means that you're not wasting your time contacting brands that aren't going to be profitable, aren't going to have any profit in the deal and that kind of thing, right? Because I spent tons of time back in the day in my first 1 to 3 years in business contacting these brands, opening accounts, and then struggling with the margin part, struggling with the negotiations part. What I realized is it was actually the products that I was finding initially weren't of a good enough quality to actually obtain those good profit margins, right? So like once I changed the perspective onto negotiating to actually finding the right product that I can negotiate on, that's what really changed my business. Now, step number 2 is always ensure you negotiate to the best of your ability, okay? And what I mean by this is actually, first of all, understanding that the core parts of the negotiation is simply a value exchange, right? So you need to give the business and the brand or the supplier, whoever you're working with, enough incentive and enough value, perceived value, for them to actually want to give you that price, right? Instead of just going to them and saying, can I have this price on this product? It's not going to work. You need to add perceived value, and you need to understand that it's simply a value exchange. And an incentive to the supplier can be construed in so many different ways, right? And ultimately, the core components is understanding their business, understanding what they actually want in a customer, and giving it to them. It can be what they look for in an ideal customer. What are their brand values like? What type of businesses do they want to work with? How do they operate? What does their supply chain look like? All these different kind of things of how that business operates, what its mission statement is, what they're looking to achieve, and align with their values. Get on really well with them. Build some common, build some rapport. Like genuinely add value to their business, and you will see, the results on the back end. Now, there is no set rule of thumb of use this phrase to negotiate better and get a better price, or whatever you may think, right? It's actually about understanding the brand, understanding the supply chain, understanding all of the concepts that come in and all of the variables that come into this negotiation, and positioning yourself in a way that actually genuinely brings value to the table. And this can be in a multitude of different ways. Just one example that I would give is, say for example they have issues with controlling their Amazon presence. You call them up, you ask for a trade account, you get talking to them, you get building the rapport, and they say, look Jack, I appreciate what you're saying, and I like what you're saying, but we don't want to take on any more Amazon sellers simply due to the fact that it's killing our business at the moment, right? Our independent brick and mortar retailers are getting annoyed because they're not able to sell the price at the £9.99 mark because everyone's just buying it online, it's cheaper. The big supermarkets, they're getting annoyed because the same thing's happening, and ultimately it's killing our brand image, it's ruining our brand image. We don't want this, and taking on any more Amazon sellers is just going to add to the problem, right? Whereas what you can do in this situation is right, you've understood their problem, you've understood their pain point, provide them with a solution, right? So the solution to that can be, you can actually help them maintaining their brand image on Amazon in a line to what they actually want to achieve as a business, right? And just lead with value. Don't really necessarily ask for anything in exchange, just lead with value. And that is a great way in which they'll want to work with you. You're providing them a genuine solution, you're providing them with genuine value, and off the back end of that, not only are you more likely to get a more exclusive deal, you're probably going to get a better price as well, because they actually believe in you. They want to support you because they think that you can genuinely help them. So that's just one example. There's tons of different examples, but that's just one example of how you can actually understand a brand's pain point and provide them with a solution, to a genuine solution to their problem. As an Amazon seller, and just in any business in general really, you need to gain a competitive advantage. You want to craft your business and craft your products to gain an unfair advantage against your competition and gain that competitive advantage. And the best way, the easiest way that you can currently do that is through negotiation. I'm just going to give you a real world example of where this has happened to me, right? So around, I would say 18 months to 24 months ago now, opened an account with a brand direct, started selling their products, right? I negotiated on these products for, I would say, probably around 6 to 10 weeks before I actually bought the product. So countless emails going back and forth, countless phone calls, and I managed to secure a really great price, right? I was making around 19% margin on the listing. The sale volume was really high, it was a really consistent listing, everything was great, right? I had an Amazon seller reach out to me, and after a brief conversation of what was happening and stuff like that, he basically explained to me that he'd been selling this product for over 3 years now, making 9% margin on this listing, right? Whereas I just started selling the product and we were dominating the sales and we were making 19% margin. Prime example there of, I was buying exactly the same product from exactly the same brand, directly from the brand. We were both dealing with the same point of contact, and I was making 19% margin and they were making 9%. Honestly, we've still got products now that we've sold for the past three to 4 years, I would say. What I've understood is like the products that have really stood the test of time are ones that I've really built great relationships with, I've really negotiated with them, I've understood their business, and they're the right type of listings to be selling on. They're consistent, they're high barrier to entry, all this kind of thing. So these are the things you've got to understand before you jump into a negotiation. And there is a lot more than meets the eye, and in terms of contacting a brand and saying, can I have a better price? It doesn't work like that. You've got to be smart, and you've got to gain a competitive advantage. Now, if you truly understand what I've spoken about in this video and you implement the things that I've said, you are guaranteed to see an increase in your business, okay? Not only in your sales, but also your profitability is going to skyrocket. Now, if you want to know more about how you can do this, how you can gain a competitive advantage, how to position yourself to suppliers in a way that's going to get you, these results, go to the description of this video where there is a link, okay? It will take you to a short video explaining exactly what it is we do, how we can potentially help you, and if you like what you see and you think that we can help you, you can book in for a call with myself where we'll just have a quick informal conversation about exactly where it is you are right now, exactly what it is you're looking to achieve, and then can we help you, okay? And if we can't help you, I promise I will just tell you there and then on the call, because we want to, we want to work with people who we can genuinely help and genuinely get results from. Now, if you really want to make a difference in 2025, go to the description of this video and book in a call. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.